When a rescuer finally followed her frantic stare, they crouched down and found a tiny, trembling bundle half buried in leaves. Her baby, cold and too small to cry. The mother nosed the pup forward as if saying, "This one is mine. Save them." The pup was wet and shivering, barely strong enough to lift its head, but alive, and that fragile life made everyone around move with care. In that quiet clearing, strangers became rescuers without argument. Hands gentle and sure as they eased the pup free from the damp, pressed leaves. There was a collective breath held, an unspoken promise that this small life would not be left behind. And in that instant, an ordinary day split open into something unforgettable. You'll watch the first breath and feel your chest loosen, then cry. But you'll also see how a single stubborn mother can pull strangers into an act of mercy that changes a life. The moment the pup drew air and the tiny chest rose steadily, something in the room shifted from fear to cautious hope. And that fragile shift is the heart of what follows. Stay until the end. The reunion and the name they give him will break you open and fix you right after. There is a current running through the story from the first stubborn stance to the final trembling reunion. And it holds every small human and animal who chose to do the right thing. A neighbour's message started it all. A short, urgent line about a dog that wouldn't move on the trail. And what people first assumed was confusion quickly revealed itself to be something else. Each time someone tried to approach, she stepped forward and growled softly, then returned to the same exact spot with an intensity that stopped people in their tracks. Her behaviour felt less like fear and more like protection. A single-minded guarding that made the rescuers stop and look closer. They watched her eyes and followed her gaze, and when they did, they found a reason she would not leave. A tiny, hidden life folded into the leaf litter, delicate and begging only for warmth. They wrapped the pup in a blanket, held him close against a human chest, and offered small sips of water while the mother watched from just a few meters away, protective and wary. The rescuers moved with that mix of urgency and gentleness that comes when you know every minute matters. They spoke soft words and kept their movements slow so as not to frighten the fragile animal. The mother never rushed in. She judged from a distance, making sure these strangers were safe to trust. But she stayed. Eyes lock on every hand and breath, an unwavering sentinel. When they lifted the pup into the car and drove straight to the shelter, the ride felt both frantic and hopeful, a short journey that would decide the little one's fate. At the shelter, the vet's first check confirmed what everyone feared: dehydration, cold, and profound weakness. But a heartbeat that would not quit. They named him Hope because the tiny rise and fall of his chest made the room hold a new kind of breath. Even the shelter's usual routines felt charged with possibility. Treatment was simple in concept, but relentless in execution. Fluids, warmth, tiny measured feeds, and a constant watchful presence to catch every small change. Hour by hour, Hope responded, a whisker of strength more each time. And the team kept logs and passed shifts with whispered updates. Each small improvement celebrated like a victory. Day by day, he grew stronger. The wobbly, uncertain legs found purchase, and curiosity slowly replaced the wide-eyed fear. Volunteers fed him, warmed him, and carried him when he could not yet walk, and each tiny step was a triumph that made the team laugh and cry in the same breath. The mother never wandered far from the places she knew, and volunteers left food and notes where she could see them, building a bridge of trust that moved at her pace. Over the following week, the bond that had kept them alive began to show in simple gestures. The mother smelling a blanket, watching a small figure asleep, settling closer at night. And that steady presence was a reminder that some ties survive even the worst abandonments. The day came to bring the mother to the shelter yard to see if she would accept her pup in a place with people and other animals. And everyone watched in a hush. She approached with careful steps, nose low, as if remembering a secret scent. And when she finally reached the small bundle, she sniffed, circled, and then in a quiet and devastatingly beautiful instant, she licked him and settled down at his side. The volunteers who had worked through long hours let out sounds between sobs and laughter, and the little pup curled into the warmth of the only home he had ever known. They gave him his name properly then. A small marker of survival and a way to carry hope forward. And everyone felt the weight of that moment lift and turn into something soft and brave. This is a reminder that sometimes the fiercest protectors are the ones we almost ignore, and that watching with compassion can change an outcome. Small actions, starting to look, following a dog's stare, offering a towel or a ride are the kind of things that save lives when no one else is watching. If this moved you, share it, support your local rescues, and remember that even a single act of attention can make the difference between loss and a life rewritten. Thank you for staying with this story. Follow for more real rescues and updates on Hope's journey.